This week on the Gruppetto, Grand Tour season is here. We go from Vuelta Red to Giro Pink in a matter of days. There's a salvation miracle on the cards for one team, and our look at who might take the first Maglia Rosa as Italy visits Albania. A few days after lights out in Spain, the lights went green on the start of the Vuelta Femenina. A team race against the clock began the first women's Grand Tour of the season. However, on the opening day, Barcelona didn't present such a beautiful horizon for everyone. Visma Lease Bike started the race with a siesta, a slightly delayed start in getting the formation right. Not ideal, as Marianne Vos again looks for wins, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot will have to start with a 20-second deficit on the general classification. They finished 10th. Now, there would later be a fine for Movistar, as it was explained that their late arrival to the pre-race bike checks could have delayed both Uno X and Visma themselves. With official complaints made from the Dutch team, this is one that might rumble on. There were no delays for Lidl Trek. Just as they'd done in Valencia a year ago over a longer parcours, the US team rode like the wind over the 8-kilometre team time trial. They were 2 seconds quicker than Anna von der Breggen's SD Works Pro time, and Liva Lula finished third. Ellen van Dijk crossed the line first, so pulled on the first red leader's jersey going into stage 2. Now, this Vuelta could see a GC repeat of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift fight between Demi Vollering and eventual winner Kasia Niewiadoma. After the opening TTT, there was just a single second between them in the GC, the Dutch star having the slight advantage. For a look at the rest of the route and what to expect as you watch it on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus this week, I caught up with Spanish Eurosport commentary star Laura Alvarez. What a route this year, starting in Barcelona, going to a special place for you, going home to Asturias, where you're from in the north of Spain. What is it about this route? Tell us a bit about it. What does it have?
Yes, it's getting usual for me to finish La Vuelta in Asturias since 2023 when they arrived to Lagos de Covadonga. It was so special for me. And this year is going to be too. But I think the riders are going to be very strong because we always see a huge spectacle here in La Vuelta. And it's not going to be something that rest a little bit of spectacle in this year.
Fantastic lineup again. I mean, we could have a repeat of the Tour, couldn't we? Because Niewiadoma and Vollering are there. We've got Ferrand-Prévot as well, who's talked about going for GC this year. It is a super lineup, but you would have made the route harder, you said.
Yes, I think this year Demi Vollering has a little bit different rivals than the year before. And Pauline Ferrand-Prévot is going to be one of them that is going to battle for the GC. I think it's going to be a huge change for them, for Pauline and for Anna van der Breggen too, because we were in the Ardennes Classic last weeks and they didn't have the time to prepare well for the high mountains. And I think it's going to be something that they will suffer in the next days. We hope that they will be as strong as Demi Vollering in the Grand Tours in this Vuelta.
You've mentioned that Vollering's here, of course Niewiadoma, all the rest as well. What about the Spanish though? Because I was looking and doing a little bit of research, Laura, and I realised that there had not been one single Spanish stage win since the Vuelta Femenina existed. Is there any hope for your country this year?
Demi Vollering is going to have maybe 2 opportunities for a stage victory. I hope for a Spanish victory this year. Maybe Mavi Garcia is the strongest one to have one.
Who's going to win it, Laura? And where is it going to be won?
I don't know. I don't really know because we are waiting for Lagunas de Neila or for the last one in Alto de Cotobello. I think these 2 stages are the most important ones for the general classification. I hope it's not closed in the first one in Neila because we are expecting a huge battle in Alto de Cotobello. Is where the organization prepared, and I think I have maybe younger riders on mind for the general classification for battle with Demi Vollering. Maybe Kasia Niewiadoma told after Liège that she was a domestic. She will be a domestic here in La Vuelta because she's not feeling well on her first part of the season. And I think Nick Bradbury has to catch this responsibility for the Canyon SRAM racing. I expect a lot about Nick Fisher-Black with a little trek, or maybe, I don't know, Cedric Carvajal was in a very good shape in the last classic. So I think maybe younger riders will be there to battle with Demi Vollering, the most favorite on the stages, mountain stages.
Well, that was Laura's crystal ball. Look out for Nick Fisher-Black as we go to the final stage of the Vuelta. Laura, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the Vuelta. To men's World Tour racing now, and the 6-day Tour de Romandie began with a 3-kilometre prologue in Saint-Imier, the first of 2 tests against the clock. Sam Watson finished just 0.2 of a second faster than the in-form Ivo Oliveira and under-23 world champ Ivan Bromeo, shutting down the Portuguese and Spanish Watts to take the win and the leader's jersey. Impressive enough to take your first World Tour win, but even more perhaps so when you're not even meant to be there.
Yesterday I was out training in Andorra, 1.5 hours from home, and I get a call from the team saying, get to the airport as soon as you can because you're racing Romandie tomorrow. And then here I am with a victory. It's pretty special.
Matthew Brennan won in Fribourg the day after to continue the British success and wear another prestigious leader's jersey, just as he did in Catalonia last month. It was Visma Lease Bike's first Romandie stage success since Primož Roglič dominated the race 6 years ago. By the shores of Lake Neuchâtel, Lorenzo Fortunato showed that there was nothing lucky about his presence at the front of the race. XDS Astana winning and getting ever closer to safety. More on that later. EF Education Easy Post young Frenchman Alex Baudin took yellow. Jay Vine attacked in the final kilometre of the stage around Cossonay to hold off the bunch. A real show of strength and power too to take stage 3 ahead of Lenny Martinez. Baudin, in the meantime, held on to the lead. The big mountain test of this year's race around the French-speaking cantons of Switzerland was an ascent to Tiant 2000, a mighty 20-kilometre-long climb with an average gradient of almost 8%, coming after 4 previous categorised climbs earlier in a relatively short 128-kilometre day. Remco Evenepoel surprised a few onlookers, seemingly saving legs for the final TT and looking after teammate Junior Lasself, already in a strong GC position. When it came to the final fight for the win, Frenchman Martinez just about got the better of Joao Almeida. A second win of the season for him and a yellow leader's jersey. The top of the leaderboard was tight on time, but they know how to measure it in these parts. The final test of Swiss timing came in Geneva and it would decide the race. World champion Evenepoel was out of contention for the overall, but was the fastest and would win the stage. Finishing 12 seconds in arrears was Almeida. As expected overnight, he was more than good enough to overturn the 3-second deficit to Martinez and win the overall general classification. After having been made to wait 3 and a bit seasons between GC successes, the 26-year-old Portuguese has now won his last 2 stage races. Wednesday was International Labour Day, a holiday for many, but hard work paid off for Jaco Alula and Michael Matthews as they won a World Tour race at Eschborn-Frankfurt. The Australian beat Magnus Cort to the line in a 24-man group, opening his account for the season. In the UCI Pro Series, the 60th anniversary edition of the Tour of Turkey began as the tour of first ever pro wins. Simon Daers raised his arms on the beautiful Mediterranean coast in Antalya. That before the picturesque hillside town of Kalkan saw Alpecin-de-Koning teammate Tibor Del Grosso get off the mark too. Lev Gonov did the same in Marmaris on day 3 as the 8-stage event moved up the coast towards the Aegean. An all-category climb from the seaside to Akyaka then led to the jersey changing hands from the fast finishers to the climbers. Wout Poels with his 25th career win, and teammate Harold Martin Lopez was second. The stormy skies under which riders finished stage 4 continued on day 5, things getting so bad that the racing would be cancelled long before the peloton was due to arrive in Aydın. Racing resumed under the sunshine the next day, and at the finish in Selçuk, it was a second XDS Astana 1-2 of the week. Lopez winning the stage, and this time Paul's rolling over 3 seconds later to keep his GC lead with 2 days remaining. That GC was put on the back burner for a bunch sprint in Çeşme, and the early race new winners were eclipsed by the old. Many thought that Elia Viviani might have to retire earlier in the year. Without a team, he was handed a lifeline, and in his first stage race since joining Lotto, he repaid their faith. The 36-year-old with road victory number 90 of his career. The Tour of Turkey finished with a last day visit to Izmir, the pearl of the Aegean. And it turned out to be another pearl of a day for XDS Astana. Matteo Malucelli took the stage before Pauls confirmed his first GC success for 3 years, just in front of teammate Lopez. XDS Astana's points haul also continued elsewhere with a 1-2 in the Femmen Ardennes Classic, taking the team to within less than 200 points of moving out of the relegation places. Now, at the end of last season, they were over 4,500 points from safety. In 2025, though, only UAE Emirates XRG and Lidl Trek have scored more UCI points. It's been a remarkable turnaround, and we're not even halfway through the season yet. In Turkey, they took 4 stage wins with 4 different riders, plus that 1-2 on GC, as well as a World Tour win in Switzerland. 7 wins in 7 days that might just save their spot at the top table. This is the Giro, the world's most beautiful race. They'll be fighting until Rome. It's Pog in pink. Perfection.
Bravo, 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 bravo! L'ultimo gladiatore nella città eterna!
A super show from a super showman. We're just days away from the start of the Giro D'Italia. The fight for pink is almost underway, and with a first ever start in Albania, the race route is an intriguing one. But what about the riders? Well, 5 former winners are at the start. Roglic, Hindley, Bernal, Carapaz, Quintana are all there, with a field full of depth to challenge for the Trofeo Senza Fine. Ayuso seems to be the other name on everyone's lips, but don't forget Simon and Adam Yates, Ahrensman, Landa, Dani Martinez, Gaudu, G, Tiberi, Ciccone, Storer, Bilbao, Balde, Poole, Piganzoli, Rubio. It's quite the list, isn't it? Pedersen headlines the sprint names, and with a lumpy opening stage to the capital Tirana, not too dissimilar in setup to last year's curtain raiser in Turin, it's looking maybe like a Van Aert versus Pidcock versus rest of the world for the first Maglia Rosa. There are always question marks hanging over the start of a 3-week race, but it's a mix of flat and hilly terrain for day 1, opening the stage up to attackers as well as some fast finishers too. The final climb tops out at just 11 kilometres from the finish, fireworks almost guaranteed. Day 2's time trial will be an excellent opportunity for Tarling and other top riders against the clock. GC stars can't afford to leave seconds on the road there in the Albanian capital, and there are a total of 42 kilometres of TTing. Day 3 is another day where the climbing legs will be tested, and everyone's going to have their wits about them too. A start and finish in Vlora, just 80 kilometres across the water from Italy, takes the peloton up above 1,000 metres already, with an ascent of Ciaffa e Logarassa, the Logara Pass. There are almost 3,000 metres to climb in total on the day, but with climbing almost done at 40 kilometres from the finish, who knows what we can expect? We'll have a proper look at the main body of the Giro, who to watch and what to look out for on next week's show, as the race moves to Italy on an early rest day. Until then, you can join us. The Giro D'Italia will be live on TNT Sports at its streaming home Discovery Plus in the UK and Ireland. Good news for you viewers in the USA too. You'll be joining us on Max. Before that, the Vuelta Femenina continues all week to its conclusion in the mountains at the weekend. That race is available to all of you watching on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. One more thing before we leave you. The Whoop Mountain Bike World Series continues, and our man on the ground, Rick McLaughlin, has the latest.
Hi Rob, just when we thought we had all the big news over and done with from the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series transfer market, a huge news story broke at the end of last week. Asa Vermette re-signing with Frameworks Racing. Frameworks Racing, the passion project of Nico Malalian ex-pro in his quest to build the ultimate race bike. And halfway through last season, all the big names, all the big teams, they all came looking to try and sign the American, but Frameworks somehow have managed to pony up and keep a hold of him. And not just that, but it's up to the first 3 years of his elite level career. He's already the junior UCI world champion. He's already winning elite level races at US national level. And it's all just made things a little bit more spicy and a little bit more interesting ahead of round 1 of the UCI Downhill World Cup, 17th to 18th of May in Bielsko-Biała, Poland. I'm super excited to get out there. Brilliant track. Vermette, what's he going to do with that new contract in his back pocket? I tell you what, if you're lucky, I'll send you a wee update from out there.
So that's it from me this week. Big Gruppetto with a lot going on in the Vuelta and building up to the Giro. Don't forget to watch both races. Keep your eye on the mountain bike, and we'll be back as the Giro's in full swing with the first Grand Tour Vuelta winner to talk about next week. Until then, enjoy the racing. Ci vediamo. Ciao.